You're listening to Short Inspirations from Ralph. Why is there so much pain and suffering in the world? Part 5. So the big question is this. You could say it's the elephant in the room. Why doesn't God do something? You see, the vast majority of the 8 billion people in the world know that evil exists, therefore good does. And of course, that's apart from people on the fringe who don't believe in evil or good, or have their own shifting sand version of good and evil. And when Paul wrote his excellent letter to the Romans, you see in verse 12 of chapter 5 this: when Adam sinned, the entire world was affected. Sin entered human experience, and death was the result. And so death followed this sin, casting its shadow over all humanity. Listen to this, because all have sinned. And this sin is like rust that never sleeps. It's like a highly infectious, fatal disease that keeps on going until we're all destroyed. So why doesn't God do something about it? So here's some scenarios that God could do. Firstly, he could destroy us. He's all-powerful, isn't he? And perfectly capable of wiping out the human race. No people, just animals and plants. Or God could handpick the evil people and eliminate them. All murderers, rapists and terrorists, any truly wicked person would go. And of course anyone else who's potentially wicked. That would mean the rest of us would be left in peace. Here's another one. God could step in and override every evil act. When someone shoots another person, the guy who gets shot just gets up, grins and goes on with life like a character in a cartoon. Or if you drive off a cliff, you're a bit dazed for a minute or two, but then you shake it off. Our choices would make no difference. People would be immortal like Superman, unable to get hurt or die. God could choose to stay out of things and let us fend for ourselves. He could go off to another world or galaxy somewhere, disconnected and uninterested. Or God could periodically step in, perhaps not known to us, but maybe just behind the scenes, eliminate evil. We wouldn't know what he's up to. It would all be a sort of mystery. But there's a problem with most of these scenarios, and that is that none of us are righteous. We're all sinners. There is none righteous, no, not one, Scripture says. Here's another one. God could get a taste of what we go through by experiencing the evil of the world personally and knowing what it feels like. We would then be able to see exactly how God would respond to the everyday frustrations and disappointments in facing evil and suffering firsthand. Now, get this. This is what he did through the person of Jesus Christ. And the best way that I can illustrate what Jesus did for us is through a simple story from World War II. And it goes like this. The guards at a Japanese prisoner of war camp would take the English soldiers out into the fields to do hard manual labour. At the end of one particular day, the guards lined up the English prisoners and counted the tools. They found that one shovel was missing, and a guard called out, "Who stole the shovel?" No one responded, so the Japanese guard cocked his rifle and said, "All die, all will die." Suddenly, one Scottish soldier stepped forward and said, "I stole the shovel." Instantly he was shot dead. His comrades gathered up his body and the remaining tools and went back to the prisoner of war compound. But back in the prison camp, the Japanese guards counted the tools again. They found that no shovel was missing. This Scottish soldier had sacrificed his life that his friends might live. And so we see that 2,000 years ago, God became man. His name was Jesus Christ. He lived a perfect life, never did anything wrong, did not deserve to die. He stepped forward like the soldier and said, I will take the sins. I will take everything that these ones have been accused of, and I will sacrifice my life for them. And that's exactly what Jesus did for us. Paul sums it up again in Romans 5:15, and he says, now there is no comparison between Adam's transgression and the gracious gift that we experience. For the magnitude of the gift far outweighs the crime. It's true that many died because of one man's transgression, but how much greater will God's grace and his gracious gift of acceptance overflow to many because of what one man, Jesus the Messiah, did for us. Wow. God bless you.